wake up and realize that shit. Like,
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of Open Doors. I'm your host, Chris Harris. I want to first thank you for taking the time to check out this podcast, to spend some time with me. I'm your host, and we're going to have an awesome time today. Before we do anything, I want you to hit that subscribe button. For those who have already subscribed, I want to thank you. But if you haven't subscribed already, please hit that subscribe button so when any new episodes drop, you don't have to search for it. And you know how it goes through the week. You get busy, you may forget. But when you subscribe, the next episode will come directly to you. And please, I want you to connect with me. I'm on Instagram. Search Chris Harris, find me, and we'll connect together. Now let's get started. Today, I have an interesting discussion I want me and you to talk about. A video came across my internet. A video came to me, and I want you to look at this video. I want you to see this video, and then we're going to come back and have a discussion. Let's play the video.
No smoke, no smoke. Yeah.
Now, as you saw that video, what do you think about it? You know, as I was watching that video, I've watched it many times, and there were so many thoughts that were running through my mind. But there was one question that kept just playing back at me over and over again as I watched that video. What are we passing on to the next generation? Each generation we run to a certain point, and then we pass the baton like a relay race to the next generation. So what baton are we giving to the next generation? It's a kid's birthday party. Normally with a kid's birthday party, there is a theme. You see in the video, there are little boys, so it's a boy's birthday party. What kind of theme would they have for a boy's birthday party? Probably a superhero, maybe sports, maybe their favorite cartoon character. But no, in this birthday party, the theme is money, guns, blunts, and alcohol. At a kid's birthday party. What are we doing? Is that life? Is life about money, guns, blunts, and alcohol? Then we think it's cool. We think it's cool to have the little children who are sponges anyway, who soak up anything, who are impressionable anyway at their young age, to play with the guns, to play with the money, to dance to music that promote violence. What are we doing? What are we passing on to the next generation? And the men who are there, who are supposed to be the examples, who are supposed to be the role models, are just standing back, laughing, and embracing each other with applause. I can assume that these men are their fathers, the young boys' fathers. That's an assumption. And for the sake of this discussion, I'm going to make that assumption. You know, there's a scripture in the Bible, Proverbs 22, verse 6, that says, "Train up a child in the way that he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it." It says, train up a child in the way that he should go, and when he is of age, when he's matured, he will not depart from it. Looking at this video, which way are they training up these little children to go? Because the way you train them up is the way they're going to go. You know, I get upset when I see things like this, Because I'm looking at these young boys in the video, and they're setting these young boys up for failure. They're setting up, these young boys is the next generation. They're setting up the next generation for failure. And I said, I'm gonna make an assumption that those men who were behind them were their fathers. And that brings me to my first point. I'm just gonna dive right into it today. Because most of them guys seem very young. And that's the problem. That's the first problem. Young boys having babies. I say it this way, babies having babies. They don't have the mental capacity. They don't have the maturity to raise a child. So in their immaturity, in their ignorance, they have babies. And what are they teaching these babies? We see it in the video. I get upset when I see things like this because I see young boys who have a future, who have a hope, are being set up for failure. And you ever ask yourself this question? You ever ask yourself this question? Why is that type of lifestyle glorified in our society? I want you to think about that for a second. Especially in our mainstream media. That type of lifestyle, that thug lifestyle, that gangster lifestyle, the gun culture, why is it so glorified in our society? I want you to think about that for a second. Even in the music that we listen to. Oh, we love the gangster rap. We love the artist who promotes violence. The one who promotes misogynistic lyrics concerning women. We love it. We put them on a pedestal. Why is it so glorified in our society? Because it's a setup. This is not an attack on hip hop or attack on music, but I want you to think about that for a second. It's one of those things that makes you go, why is violence and drugs and alcohol and those things glorified in our society? I said you can just go and look at the music that we listen to, the artists that we put on a pedestal. Their lyrics talk about violence. Their lyrics talk about drugs and alcohol, and we celebrate them. Why? Why is that so glorified in our society? Think about it. You know, some years back, I was with a group of people and we were pushing this online magazine here in Chicago. And we went to a lot of music venues. We went to a lot of music showcases. And one thing that always took me by surprise is that everybody wanted to be a rapper. I'm talking 200 people would sign up for these music events and everyone wants to be a rapper. And their lyrics are all the same, promoting violence, promoting drugs, promoting alcohol, misogynistic lyrics concerning women. Why would everyone, or why does everyone want to be a rapper? I always ask myself that. What's wrong with being a doctor? What's wrong with being a lawyer, an engineer, a businessman, a businesswoman, an educator, a professor? What's wrong with those things? What's wrong with being a craftsman, a plumber, a painter? Those are good trades. Those are good jobs. What's wrong with that? But everybody wants to be a rapper. I said in mainstream media, we glorify that behavior. We celebrate it. Why? Because it's a setup. It's a setup because that's a lifestyle of destruction. And today, I don't want to make this about race. But for the sake of this discussion, I'm going to make it about race. Because that's my people on that video. That's my brothers. That's my kinfolk on that video. You know, they say that slavery was abolished by the 13th Amendment in the U.S. Constitution in 1865. That's what they say. That's what we've been taught in our classrooms, that slavery was abolished by the 13th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution in 1865. But I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that's true because a lot of us are still slaves. We're slaves in our mind. It's no longer we're shackled. It's no longer we're living on plantations. But the slavery is mental. The slavery is in our mind. Because we are still shackled to a certain image that we feel like we have to live out. We are bound by a certain identity, a certain character that we feel that we have to portray. But where was that image? Or how did we get that image? How did we get that character? How did we get that identity? It was handed to us. It was given to us so we wouldn't rise. It was given to us so we wouldn't be successful. But we don't have to live out that image, that identity, that character anymore. That's played out. Slavery is over. Let me tell you something about yourself. I don't know if anybody has told you this about yourself, but you're innovative. You're intelligent. You're creative. You're talented. You're gifted. There is so much that you can do. And let me just go another route for a second. Let's go back to the video. Because I said I assume that these men who were in the background, watching these little boys just eat it up. They're playing with the guns. They're playing with the money. They're dancing to the music that's promoting violence. You got alcohol. You got blunts on the table. I'm assuming I said that these are the fathers. As a father, a real father doesn't want the same for their children that they went through. As a father, maybe these men, you know already, you know that the struggles you had to go through and the things that you've encountered. So as a father, you don't want the same thing for your children. A real father doesn't want their kids to be like them. Let me tell you that. A real father wants their kids to be better than them. I want my kids to be better than me. I don't want you to do the same things that I did. I want you to go to places that I couldn't go, climb the mountains that I didn't climb. That's what a real father wants. So it makes me upset that if these men are their fathers and you know the struggles, you know what goes on, you know. So why would you want that for your sons? You know, a previous episode, we were talking about the failures of the men in our family is actually our success. Because those men fell in pits. But by them falling in pits, now we're able to see the pits as the next generation that comes and avoid the pit. These men have fallen into pits. So they should be there as they fall into pits. Say, son, don't come to this pit. You see, I fell into this pit. Don't come. Go another way. But they're accepting it. It's like they want their sons to be just like them. And you know what we've got by this lifestyle? A continuous cycle. A continuous cycle. A continuous cycle of imprisonment. A continuous cycle of premature death. You know, I live in Chicago, and day in and day out, we see our young people dying senselessly, premature. 14, 15, 16. They even haven't had a chance to live their life yet, and they're dying. The young people that's dying could have been the next president, the next senator. They could have been the next pastor, the next bishop, the next celebrity, the next person to make an impact in our society. That could have been the person who will create a cure for cancer or AIDS. Someone who was supposed to be a trailblazer, someone who was supposed to make an impact, but their life was cut short because we're going on this constant, continuous cycle. But somebody has to stand up and break the cycle. That movie is played out already. We've seen it many times, so many times. It's like Fast and Furious. How many are they going to make? It's time to stop. It's time to stop that cycle. It's played out. And it takes one person. It takes one man. It takes you. It takes me to stand up and say, you know what? We see the cycle around and around and around the mountain. We see it all the time. But no, I don't want to go that route anymore. I'm going to break that cycle. I'm going to go a different route. Or it takes someone to say, you know what? I've been to prison. or I've endured losses, or I've struggled. I have a criminal record. It's been hard for me. I don't want that for my sons. I don't want that for my daughters. So I'm not going to have them go the same route that I went through. I'm going to keep them away. I'm going to have them go a different route. I want them to go the places I didn't go and do the things that I couldn't do. It takes one person. It takes one person. And I believe that that one person is you. So coming back to the video, it gets me so upset. It gets me so upset that you know the struggles. You know what's up. But you choose to accept that for the next generation. That's why I asked, what are we passing on to the next generation? Because the next generation is supposed to run further than we ran. But when you introduce them to the same things that was a snare to you, you stop them from running. You are a hindrance to them running. You are a hindrance for them going forth and fulfilling their destiny, their purpose. But enough is enough. We got to stop this. We got to do better. That's why I asked, what are we doing? What are we doing? That's my 2 cents on this video. But I would love to hear yours. That's my opinion. What's yours on this video? I want you to talk to me in the comments. I want you to share this podcast. Let's open up a discussion because change has to happen. And it starts with you and it starts with me. That's all I have for you today. This is the Open Doors. This is Chris Harris. I said subscribe. Check with me, connect with me on Instagram. Share this episode, and I will see you on the next episode. You have a great day and be blessed. Thank you.
Cut.